Good day to all distinguished lecturers, academics, and fellow students. My name is Muhammad Shami Hafizi bin Abdul Shukor, and I will be presenting about traditional advertising versus influencer marketing. Have you ever paused to consider why you trust certain messages you see in your screen more than others, even when both are trying to sell you the same idea? This question becomes increasingly important as we move deeper into a world where advertising is no longer confined to television screens, radio broadcasts, or printed newspapers, but instead flows continuously through social media platforms, digital content feeds, and personal online interactions. Today, I will be discussing the evolution of advertising, specifically the shift from traditional advertising to influencer marketing, and how this transformation reflects not only technological advancement, but also a deeper change in human behavior and perception. Traditional advertising has long been the foundation of commercial communication. It is structured, carefully produced, and typically delivered through mass media channels such as television, radio, magazines, newspapers, and outdoor billboards. Its strength lies in reach and consistency. A single campaign can expose millions of viewers to the same message in a controlled and polished form. In many ways, traditional advertising is built on repetition and authority. The message is clear, a brand speaks, and the audience listens. However, while this model has proven effective over decades, it is not without limitations. Traditional advertising often creates distance between the brand and the consumer. The communication is largely one directional, with little room for interaction or personal engagement. As consumers become more exposed to advertising, they also become more selective and at times more skeptical. This is where the first signs of change began to emerge. With the rise of the internet and social media platforms, advertising began to shift into a more dynamic and interactive space. Influencer marketing emerged as a new approach where individuals with online followings began promoting products and services through personal content. Unlike traditional advertisements, these messages are often embedded within lifestyle posts, personal experiences, and day to day storytelling. At first, influencer marketing appears more relatable and authentic. Instead of a corporate message, consumers are exposed to what feels like personal recommendations. From a psychological perspective, this is significant. People are naturally influenced by social proof and have the tendency to trust the behavior and opinions of others, especially those they perceive as similar to themselves. Influencers often build parasocial relationships with their audience, where followers feel a sense of familiarity and emotional connection despite never meeting them in real life. The psychological bond can make marketing messages feel more trustworthy, even when they are commercially driven. Yet, this raises an important critical question. If influence is built on perceived authenticity, what happens when the authenticity is monetized? This is where the comparison between traditional advertising and influencer marketing becomes particularly interesting. Traditional advertising is often criticized for being too obvious in its persuasive intent. Consumers know they are being marketed to. Influencer marketing, on the other hand, blends persuasion with personal expression, making it less transparent. While this can increase engagement, it also blurs the line between genuine opinion and paid promotion. From a consumer behavior perspective, both systems rely on psychological triggers, but in different ways. Traditional advertising relies on repetition, brand recognition, and emotional appeal through storytelling and visuals. Influencer marketing relies more heavily on trust, relatability, and perceived social validation. In other words, one appeals to the mind through structured messaging, while the other appeals to the emotions through social connection. However, neither approach is perfect. Traditional advertising risks being ignored in an age of information overload, where audiences are constantly exposed to competing messages. Influencer marketing, on the other hand, faces challenges of credibility, transparency, and over commercialization. As audiences become more aware of paid promotions, trust can be easily eroded, weakening the very foundation that makes influencer marketing effective. It is also important to acknowledge that both forms of advertising are shaped by the same underlying force, which is attention. In today's digital economy, attention has become one of the most valuable resources. Whether through a commercial or a short form video on social platform, the goal remains the same, capturing and maintaining human attention in an increasingly crowded media environment. So, where does this leave us moving forward? The future of advertising is unlikely to be a replacement of one model by another, but rather a continuous integration of both. Traditional advertising may evolve through data driven personalization and immersive digital formats, while influencer marketing may become more regulated and transparent, with clearer boundaries between content and commercial messaging. Artificial intelligence and advanced analytics may further reshape how advertisements are targeted, making campaigns more adaptive and behavior driven than ever before. Ultimately, advertising will continue to evolve alongside society itself. As consumers become more digitally aware and psychologically informed, the responsibility of marketers will also increase. They will need to balance persuasion with ethics, innovation with transparency, and engagement with authenticity. In conclusion, the evolution from traditional advertising to influencer marketing is not simply a technological shift, but a reflection of changing human behavior, trust, and perception in the digital age. Traditional advertising speaks with authority, while influencer marketing speaks with familiarity. One builds recognition through structure, the other builds connection through personality. Both have strengths, both have weaknesses, and both will continue to shape the media landscape in different ways. As we move forward, perhaps the most important question is not which form of advertising is better, but rather, how will we, as consumers in an increasingly connected world, choose what to trust? And in that question lies the future of advertising itself. Thank you.